What up, YouTube? Here with a post-fight video of the Carlos Adame versus Julian Williams fight. Now, before I give y'all the summary of what happened in the fight, I'm going to tell you the results first. Carlos Adame was able to retain the WBC Interim Middleweight title via 9th round TKO. And I didn't agree with the stoppage. I thought it was a premature stoppage. I thought the fight could have continued. Julian Williams was definitely rocked by the shots from Carlos Adame, but he did not get dropped by those shots from Carlos Adame. It was more like he was punch shocked and was worn because of the accumulation of the punches, and the work rate of Carlos Adame was tiring Julian Williams, especially in the later rounds. And I think those effects started to show before the stoppage. Anyways, prior to the stoppage, I had the fight scored at least 3 rounds ahead for Carlos Adame. It was a entertaining fight, to say the least, because of the pace of the fight, because of the action of the fight. Carlos Adame was definitely in lead of this fight because he was landing the more effective shots. The accumulation of his punches were wearing on Julian Williams as compared to what Julian Williams was able to do with his shots versus Carlos Adame. He was engaging, he was throwing back. However, the more effective, efficient shots were coming from Carlos Adame. I was impressed with Carlos Adame's punch output, his ability to put his punches together, and his accuracy and his body work and his work rate and his volume that he showed in this fight. And to do that versus a well-experienced veteran like Julian Williams is definitely a good look for Carlos Adame. This adds on to his resume that he's been building. He's earned a reputation as the boogeyman in the middleweight division. He is a fierce contender in the middleweight division, and he is next in line to challenge the legitimate WBC middleweight champion, and that is the undefeated Jermall Charlo. And the middleweight division doesn't have the depth that other weight classes in boxing has. There is no unified world champions in the middleweights right now, and I talked about that in my last video when I was talking about the Jamie Munguia fight, who is the interim WBO middleweight champion. And I'll say, if he doesn't go for a unified title belt, I'm talking about for Jermall Charlo's sake, the most marketable fight and the easiest fight that he could make next would be the fight against Carlos Adame to defend the WBC middleweight title versus the interim middleweight champion, that being Carlos Adame. And tonight's Showtime Championship boxing card was a good card. There was the IBF super flyweight title on the line as well, with Martinez versus Bornier. That was a good opening contest. That was a good pace fight, good action fight, an impressive win by Martinez. And he retained his IBF super flyweight title via, I think it was the 9th round TKO. He popped the ear, I think it was a right ear of Bornier, and the way he won that fight was a good look. And as well as Erickson Lubin versus Arias, Lubin fought a beautiful fight. He fought a very technically well-skilled fight in this fight versus Arias, and he earned himself a 5th round TKO, and it was pretty much a shutout. Lubin, this was a good bounce-back performance for him after the Fondora fight, and this catapults him amongst the top of the ranks at super welterweight. And unlike the middleweight division, the super welterweight only has one champion, that being the undisputed super welterweight champion, and that is Jermall Charlo's twin brother, Jermell Charlo. And right now, there's only, I would say, 2 top dogs at super welterweight, and that obviously being the undisputed champion, Jermell Charlo, and the next top-ranked contender Tim Tszyu, and they're scheduled to fight sometime in the future as well. And as I said, it was a good night for the sport of boxing. It was a good card display on this premiere episode of Showtime Championship Boxing, with the headliner being this fight with Carlos Adame and Julian Williams. As I said, a good, impressive performance by Carlos Adame. And that does it for this post-fight video. You guys let me know what your opinions are from the fights that y'all saw tonight. Comment, subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. And that does it for this video. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.